Hi, everybody. Welcome to our webinar. We're going to give everybody just a little bit more time and then we'll get started. All right, everybody. We will go ahead and get started. Terrence is going to monitor the waiting room. So if we have any more folks jumping in, we'll add them. But thanks everybody for taking some time. I hope you are having a great day. We did this strategically during lunch so that you could have some bites to eat and also listen in. So we've got everybody muted and camera off for this webinar. So if you've got any questions, you can ask them in the chat and we will have time at the very end for question and answer, and then we'll get started after just a second. So with that, here we go. All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Catherine Andrews, and I serve as Director of Arkansas's Office of Outdoor Recreation within the Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism. On behalf of our entire team, we appreciate you taking the time to learn more about this year's outdoor recreation grant cycle and the updates we've made to our programs in fiscal year 2027. These updates came directly from feedback we've received from applicants, reviewers, communities over the last several grant cycles. Before we jump in, I want to briefly introduce the Office of Outdoor Recreation team. This is the group that works every day to support outdoor recreation across Arkansas through grants, community development, business engagement, strategic planning, and partnerships. You'll hear from several members of our team throughout today's webinar, and many of them are available to answer questions during the application process. The Arkansas Office of Outdoor Recreation was created to leverage our state's incredible natural assets to grow the outdoor recreation economy. We do that through partnerships, strategic investments, and by helping communities create outdoor recreation opportunities that improve quality of life while also driving economic development. One of the most important tools we have to accomplish that mission is our grants program. Last year alone, we awarded nearly $5 million in outdoor recreation grants to 27 recipients across 23 counties in Arkansas. Those investments are helping communities build trails, parks, playgrounds, and outdoor recreation amenities that create healthier communities, attract visitors, and improve quality of life for Arkansans. These grants are also helping us implement the priorities identified in Arkansas's statewide Comprehensive Outdoor Recreation Plan, or SCORP, which serves as our roadmap for outdoor recreation investment through 2030. You can find the full report on our website. And before we move on, I want to spend a little bit of time talking about one of the most significant updates you'll see this year, which is the addition of high priority project categories within our grant programs. Over the last several years, we've invested in hundreds of great projects across Arkansas. Those investments have improved quality of life, expanded recreation access, and strengthened communities of every size. But as we've continued to grow, we've also become more strategic about where we invest our limited grant dollars. Governor Sanders has challenged us to double Arkansas's outdoor economy over the next 10 years. And that's an ambitious goal. And it requires us to focus on projects that not only provide local recreation opportunities, but also create broader economic impact for communities across the state. The priorities that you'll see reflected in this year's grants are based on data from our SCORP, economic impact research, participation trends, and the types of recreation assets that consistently attract visitors, support businesses, improve community health, and encourage long-term investment. But that doesn't mean that other project types are ineligible. We recognize that every community has unique needs and opportunities, but what it does mean is that projects that demonstrate the greatest potential to advance statewide outdoor recreation goals increase access, strengthen connectivity, and generate meaningful economic and community impact will receive additional consideration during our review process. Ultimately, we want these grant dollars to do as much work as possible for Arkansas communities. We want to fund projects that create great places to live while also helping move the needle on outdoor recreation participation, tourism, workforce attraction, and economic growth. So today's webinar is focused on helping you understand what's new this grant cycle, what we're looking for in applications, and how you can put together the strongest proposal. And before we walk through each program, I want to highlight a few important updates and reminders. First, we'll talk about timelines. Application for Fun Park and matching grants opened on May 1st and are due on August 28th. Grant hearings will take place October 28th through the 30th. Application for Great Strides opened on March 9th and are due on June 30th. That is coming up in a couple of days, so be mindful of that date. Grant hearings will take place on August 25th. Okay, let's dig in a little bit more to each of them. Fun Park grants. Fun Park stands for Facilities in Underdeveloped Neighborhoods. These grants are designed specifically for smaller communities. Eligible applicants include municipalities with populations of 7,500 or fewer, as well as unincorporated communities sponsored by a county. Awards are available up to $100,000 with no local match required. Projects receiving the strongest consideration are playgrounds and projects that create meaningful outdoor recreation opportunities connected to Arkansas's natural environment. Examples of those would be trails, pump tracks, shooting sports facilities, and fishing, boating, paddling related infrastructure, among others. The focus here is improving access to outdoor recreation in communities that may not have access to these amenities locally. Matching grants. Our matching grant program remains our most flexible and largest grant program. These grants are available to all municipalities and counties across Arkansas. There is no maximum award amount, but projects do require a 50-50 match. Eligible projects include outdoor recreation facility development, land acquisition, or a combination of the two. This program is designed for communities pursuing larger investments in transformational projects. A significant update that you'll see this cycle is the focus on high priority infrastructure investment. That includes trails and trailheads, bike pump tracks, hunting and shooting sports facilities or archery ranges, fishing piers, bank fishing access, water access, and infrastructure like canoe or kayak launch ramps, campgrounds, climbing infrastructure, and playgrounds. And as always, projects that create significant public recreation benefits and demonstrate readiness tend to be the most competitive. All right, Great Strides. Great Strides is our walking trail program, which is administered through a partnership with the Department of Health. Awards are available up to $350,000 with no match requirement. A common misconception is that because the maximum request is $350,000, every application should request that amount, but that's not the case. The total annual funding available for the program is $350,000. So applicants should request only what's necessary to successfully complete their project. Smaller, well-defined projects can be highly competitive for the Great Strides grant. These grants specifically support paved walking trails, trail expansions, trail renovations, and associated trail infrastructure. The goal of Great Strides is improving community health outcomes while increasing access to safe walking opportunities. With that overview, I'm going to turn it over to Terrence Youngblood, who will walk through the scoring updates and several important changes that applicants need to understand before applying. Terrence.
Thank you, Catherine. Before I continue, I wanted to make one correction about the Great Strides. It's up to 250, but that's absolutely fine. Scoring system updates. One of the biggest things you'll hear today is clarity. We've worked hard to simplify the application process to ensure we're funding projects that are ready to succeed. So this year, we're focusing on project readiness. We're adding two new documents for applicants to apply for: the maintenance plan and the project timeline. These documents will help us understand not only what you're building, but how you sustain it and how long it will take to be completed. We've also simplified some of the required documentation and streamlined how grant history is evaluated. Um, Lastly, in terms of fun park and great strides, one of the things we wanted to talk about is the update to land control. Um, no longer will we do a tiered based scoring based on land control. The focus is going to be whether the applicants own or lease the property. And by doing that, the applicants can demonstrate appropriate site control and long-term project viability. The next couple of slides we're going to talk about is going to be exclusively for matching grant updates. So these are the couple of the topics we want to talk about. So the first one I want to talk about is scoring transparency. Applications often ask how applications are reviewed. So this year we're trying to provide greater clarity on this. So there are two levels of review. The first is an internal review conducted by our staff, which focuses on accuracy, completeness, and ensuring that all required materials have been submitted. The second review occurs during grant hearings and community evaluation. This is where the project is viewed from a broader perspective, including community impact, project quality, readiness, and overall competitiveness. We've also made significant updates regarding land control for linear projects. This applies to projects such as big trails, trail connectors, access corridors, and water access routes. Many communities have told us that assembling ownership alongside these type of projects has been challenging, and as a result, we have made permanent outdoor recreation easements eligible. To qualify, the easement must provide legal authority to construct, maintain, and operate outdoor recreation facilities. They must guarantee public outdoor recreation access in perpetuity, include a legal description and map, and contain no restrictions conflicting with long-term public recreational use. This change creates additional flexibility while ensuring permanent public benefit. And additional guidance about the easements is in the matching guide on page 11. So with that being said, I'm going to transition over to Amanda. She's going to talk about licensed design professionals, project scalability, and how applicants should prioritize budget items. Amanda?
Thanks, Terrence. We have also expanded the definition of who may serve as a design professional. You'll now hear the term project relevant design professional. So depending on the project, that may include an architect, a landscape architect, engineer, professional trail builder, contractor, or another qualified infrastructure professional. The important point is that the professional must be appropriate for the project being proposed. However, a site plan remains required and ADA accessibility remains mandatory. Many projects will still require architectural or engineering expertise. For example, a trail project may utilize a professional trail designer for the trail itself, while an engineer may still be required for a parking area or ADA-related infrastructure. If you have any questions about your specific situation, please contact our team before applying. One of the most practical updates this year concerns project scalability. Applicants should understand that projects may be funded in full or funded partially. Because of that, we strongly encourage applicants to identify which components of a project are the highest priority. Think about your project in phases. If only a portion of the project receives funding, can meaningful progress still occur? When preparing cost estimates and budgets, clearly identify the most important elements first. This allows reviewers to better understand how a partial award could still result in a successful project. Applicants who thoughtfully prioritize budget items often position themselves more competitively because they demonstrate flexibility and realistic implementation planning.
Awesome. Thank you, Terrence. Thank you, Amanda. And as we wrap up, and everybody, this is very short because we wanted to leave plenty of time for questions. We wanted to leave you guys with three major takeaways. First, project readiness matters now more than ever, especially in scoring. Second, think strategically about how your project fits into a larger community vision. This is also going to be extremely important in the scoring this year, and how the committee evaluates each of the applications. We're looking for larger community and regional impact rather than smaller one takeoff projects, which again are still very important, but we want to make sure that we're creating real large regional impact. And third, reach out early. Our team is here to answer questions before these applications are submitted. We would much rather help you navigate requirements now than discover issues during the review process. We're excited about all of these projects. Can't wait to see what comes in. Thank you for being on here and joining us today. And at this point, we are going to now open it up for questions. Terrence, do you want to manage, or Amanda, if you can manage the process, that'd be great.
Oh, okay. I see. Sorry, I was trying to get set up. Alexis McCall, I see you have your hand raised. Okay. Oh, actually, I think since we're on the mute and the camera, we might have to just put it in the chat. So if you have questions, just go ahead and drop it in there. Okay, I'm not
Either in
seeing.
chat or in the Q&A section, either one. We can pick it up from there.
Okay, Terrence, do you want to take the Q&A? I'm not able to see that. Okay, I see. Okay, so the first question we have is oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Where does the scoring rubric come into play in the evaluation process? Terrence, do you want to take that one?
Sure. Scoring rubric comes into play in evaluation rep. There in the application guide, there is a scoring sheet. That's what we use for the internal review. There's a separate scoring rubric that is in the matching grant application guide. That is what the committee will use to review applications that have been forwarded for grant hearings. So if you want to kind of determine where your application how to gauge your application, where it is, the score sheet in the back is basically for the internal version that we use. The one behind it, it should be a committee guidebook. That is the one that will be used for the grant hearings. So everybody has an opportunity to see where your application would stack up with regards to both rubrics. Thank you for that question.
And that is an update this year that we've been making, especially as it comes to transparency and clarity on scoring. We'll go back to the two process scoring that Terrence talked about. Level 1 eval is our staff making sure that all the documentation is there, everything that has been entered in the application is accurate and complete. And then the committee will score on a larger set of impact items. And so now you're able to see exactly what those items are that our committee will be scoring on and our staff.
Okay, for the next question, so for land acquisition application requirements, I know that we will need a letter of intent to sell, but does that basically replace the need for a deed or other documents?
No, we'll still need the deed, but the letter of intent will count, and if the application is awarded, we'll still need the deed. Um, but if you can include the deed as well in the application, that would be great. But the letter of intent will suffice. Going to Dylan's question, yes, these changes are only going to affect the this current cycle and future cycles. So not to products that are currently active. Thank you, Dylan, on that.
As far as project readiness, what level do you consider it as being deemed within this category?
Kanye, product readiness is a very high category, and a lot of the items that have been asked traditionally we kind of fit in that category. For example, like I said, we added the maintenance plan and the project timeline, but you have the site plan, um, the product narrative, all those things, just basically all these things that kind of help us determine how viable and how ready the project is if it gets awarded and whether it be a smooth process or not.
And do walking trails have to be in a park? This one's no. It doesn't have to be in a park. There will be other land control documentation or requirements with that, but they don't have to be in a park.
I think the main thing to emphasize is as long as the project is and is a place where it's open to the general public and outdoor recreation is accessible, we can then that's fine.
Okay, another one. As a follow-up to Kanya's question, if a city has a complete set of design plans, but it is for a new community park, would that receive maximum points in this category? The city has complete.
I guess, Connie, for those situations, we'll just kind of just set a time and we just talk about it, you and Randy, and we just kind of look at it on a case by case basis because every city, every application is going to be different and unique in its own way. And don't want to say the wrong thing. So I want to make, if you can, email it to us and we'll set up a time and talk about it.
But Shelley, if you are asking if a new park gets higher points than an existing park, we don't have any categories for that. It doesn't matter if it's new or existing. Okay, everybody. We are going to give you a significant amount of your time back. So if there are any other questions, I'm going to say going once, twice, 3 times. Okay. Amanda, if you don't mind, can you put our emails in the chat? One last time, feel free to call any of us or email any of us at any time. This is a new process for everybody, a lot of this stuff, but we really hope that the process is more clear, more transparent. You have a better understanding of how you'll stack up with your application. We hope we have done a good job in making a lot more things clear to you guys. So we're excited to see your projects and good luck. Thanks, everybody. Have a good day.